Hello, everyone. This is Katey Swann, and today I am presenting on the cause and effect of an executive leader. Executive leaders' roles and responsibilities may change depending on the size of the organization and the type of industry. But one thing is certain, an executive leader has a significant impact on an organization's culture, employees, and other internal and external stakeholders. In this presentation, we will analyze the areas where executive leaders are most influential. We will begin by comparing the leadership roles of executives and mid-level leaders, then inspect how executives affect organizational culture and how they acquire key personnel. We will examine how executives navigate organizational change, and then we will explore the entrepreneur mindset. And finally, we will discuss executive level decision making and strategic planning. Executive leaders and mid-level leaders have vastly different roles and functions in an organization, but both roles have essential responsibilities which will impact organizational success. Northouse defined leadership as a process whereby an individual influences a group of individuals to achieve a common goal. One important similarity is both roles have direct reports. So both leaders are responsible for holding people accountable for the organization to meet agreed upon objectives. Executive leaders are responsible for long-term strategic planning, and they must provide their vision to mid-level leaders so organizational objectives can be met. Executives are responsible for seeing the organization's vision and communicating that vision and long-term goals to mid-level leaders. Mid-level leaders are responsible for carrying out the direction from executive leaders so organizational goals are met, and they must report back to the executive leadership on the status of their assigned objectives. Mid-level leaders have the responsibility of communicating the tasks set forth by the organization, which is why they are considered conduits managing important tasks and roles. It is important for those in executive level and mid-level positions to be able to communicate effectively. When comparing the role of executive leaders to mid-level leaders, the most obvious difference in their roles is the range of impact each role has on the organization. Executive leaders make decisions which impact the entire organization, and mid-level leaders make decisions which affect the region of their work. Both roles are necessary to the organization, and it is important that both roles work well together since they both rely on each other to accomplish organizational tasks. The culture of an organization can impact employee engagement. Organizational culture is established by the executive leader and very often is one of the first elements that is created when an organization is founded. Executives have the responsibility in cultivating the organization's culture because they are the example of what the organization deems as acceptable. They must exercise ethical workplace practices because whatever a leader does will be reflected in the organization's values, mission, and purpose. Herman's iceberg model breaks down organizational culture. Like an iceberg, there are many unseen factors which can affect the organization. The way we get things done is the tip of the iceberg. This consists of goals and structure and policies. However, the way we really get things done is a more honest reflection of what affects an organization's culture. The bottom part of the iceberg is how things are really accomplished and has a significant focus on the tone of communication. Group norms and informal interactions are dictated by leadership and their actions towards those in the organization. How employees feel about the organization, their perceptions, their attitudes, and feelings are a reflection in how they are treated by the organization. A healthy workplace embraces integrity and respect, but without the two, trust and commitment to the organization can be at risk, which can lead to disengagement, poor performance, and employee turnover. A positive culture can enhance employee engagement. Engaged workers are known to be more productive and committed to the organization. Employee engagement can have many benefits, such as loyalty to the organization, positive employee performance, employee identification in the organization, commitment to the organization, and employee satisfaction. Leaders are supposed to make their employees feel safe, and they can create that feeling of safety through the organization's culture. When it comes to acquiring key personnel, leaders need to be able to make a strategic long-term plan and visualize future growth and how that relates to the personnel who make up an organization. Executives will understand the organization's finances and know where the organization needs to grow or shrink. In most organizations, the executive leader will be the one to approve organizational budgets. The executive leader must understand what personnel is needed and if personnel growth is financially possible. Acquiring key personnel also includes the hiring of other executive leaders and venture capitalists. Executive leaders will play a significant role in the hiring of other executives. Researchers noted that executives will bring key personnel with them because they have an established relationship and know how to work together. Having the right people in the right jobs can make the difference when it comes to organizational success. Every role in an organization has different responsibilities, but each role has a purpose. Paying employees what they are worth, as well as providing competitive employee benefit packages, creates a positive work environment and a positive outlook on company culture, which can attract top candidates to the organization. For organizations to adapt and stay competitive, organizational change is a necessity for businesses. For change plans to be successful, organizations need to have the support of their stakeholders. Researchers recommend that successful change strategies are focused on the people in the organization and the organization's mission because change initiatives should inspire people to believe in change. An organization's culture has a lot to do with the acceptance of change initiatives. Change initiatives may be met with resistance if change strays too far from the organization's mission. Employees who are bought into the mission and culture will have an easier time adapting to organizational change. Therefore, it is important for executives to define the organization's goals and create a culture in which employees can identify with. For organizational change to be successful, it needs to be communicated clearly so employees know what to expect. Proper strategic planning and transparent communication can eliminate concerns from employees. Communication also affects employee engagement. Communication needs to be planned, and a communication path needs to be recommended so employees know where information will come from and who to go to with questions. Effective communication is transactional, so executives will need to listen to the feedback employees have regarding the change and how the change is affecting them. Employee feedback can improve the process for organizations because there could be a potential cost savings which executives may not realize. Also, allowing employees to provide feedback positively impacts them because they feel as if their concerns are being heard and they are bettering the business. Entrepreneurs are those that have a vision and build a business out of that vision. Entrepreneurs take risk in their business through expansion into new markets and the creation of new products and services. They take on a financial risk, investing their money to establish their business. Entrepreneurs are employees who adopt an ownership mindset and they personally identify with the organization. They are also innovators and problem solvers, and they come up with new ideas to make the business more successful and competitive in the marketplace. Intrapreneurs and entrepreneurs have very similar qualities. They're both innovators and risk takers, and they have managerial qualities, meaning they work well with people and they manage time and projects well. They have alike visions and they personally identify with the organization's values. One significant difference between the two is the financial aspect. Entrepreneurs are self-employed and intrapreneurs are paid employees. It's a lot easier as an entrepreneur to take risks and come up with new ideas because it's someone else's money and resources being used to fund the project. The entrepreneurial mindset goes back to the discussion of company culture. An entrepreneurial organization embraces new concepts and empowers employees to step outside of the box and come up with innovative ideas. It is a decision that is made by the executive leader at the establishment of the organization and then will continue to evolve. In all organizations, there are internal and external stakeholders who are either interested or impacted by the business. Internal stakeholders are employees, executive leaders, and the board of directors. External stakeholders are customers, the community in which the business operates in, shareholders, and suppliers. Executive leaders become the face of the organization. They must be able to manage the complex relationships with their stakeholders because some decisions an executive leader makes will benefit some groups of stakeholders and not others. Therefore, executive leaders need to have the entrepreneurial mindset so they think outside the box and take calculated risk to enhance their business. However, they also need to have excellent communication skills so they can communicate their decisions and the reason behind their decisions to their stakeholders. Executive leaders are visionaries for an organization and are responsible for setting the course of the business. Researchers recommend that executives review their strategic plans regularly and receive input from internal and external stakeholders. Strategic planning is the responsibility of the executive leader, but leaders should receive input from stakeholders. By involving stakeholders, especially employees, in the planning process, allows them to see where they fit in the strategic plan. For operational success, strategic plans are communicated and appropriately implemented. This is important to ensure every person is working towards the same vision. We have discussed several areas where executive leaders make the most impact. Executive leaders have an immense amount of responsibilities in order to lead a business through the ups and downs of organizational success. An organization's culture can be a significant factor in the success of a business. Organizations need key personnel to stay competitive in their industry, but the organization must be appealing to top candidates, which is one reason why organizational culture is so important. Executive leaders must also be good communicators so they maintain relationships of internal and external stakeholders. They must also be effective in their communication to deliver organizational change and create an organizational culture that embraces entrepreneurship, which allows employees to be creative and innovative.